Roses are red, violets are blue. To me, poetry's tough. How about for you? Welcome back from spring break, everybody, and welcome to Remote Learning. Today, we're going to have a little bit of a throwback to one of the first shows that I recorded with Miss Merrill. This was before I knew exactly what the show was going to be, and I challenged Miss Merrill to bring a poem that she had written to the interview to share with us. In today's interview, we're going to talk with Miss Merrill about that poem, which she'll share with us, and she'll tell us about how this poem came to be, what its inspirations are, and how her poetry and her writing is a reaction to the world around her. I'm hoping that you all can use this when you write your own poetry, and if anything, enjoy it in the process.
Hi.
Hey, 1 second, I'm writing the email.
It's okay.
Right, so my idea.
Okay.
I'm curious what you think about this. Make sure it's. If I'm right here, is it obvious that it's in this microphone?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's louder.
Okay, right.
But I can hear you fine.
Right. I just wanted to be high quality. So my idea. Oh, and I'm recording this, by the way. But I won't.
That's
I
fine.
should have said that first. Like, I've been thinking about other assignments I can assign and stuff, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe, like, really, if they're going to be at home and they're going to be kind of isolated from people, maybe the thing I really want them to do. Hold on, let me close this door. I really do just want them to read for 20 minutes a day and write for 15 minutes. Like, I think if they actually honestly did that, I think that'd be a great bridge into next year.
Yeah.
So
So.
I think the best way to really encourage it too, maybe not the best way, but one of the ways to encourage is to be like, oh, look, like, we're not just saying this for a grade. This isn't just for assessment. This isn't SAT prep. When you remove everything, what remains? Like, still a bunch of, like, your teachers reading and writing because they believe that's important.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about starting a daily, I already have daily YouTube videos. It's going to start like a daily, like, 10-minute interview with different teachers.
No, that's super cool.
Where I just, like, ask them questions and do, like, have them share poems and stuff or writings at all.
Like their own writing, or could it be like, oh, I read this by somebody else and I just want to share it?
Either.
Okay.
Either.
Flexible.
The nice thing about the writing part is, like, it's, I mean, I'll speak for myself. It's super scary to share your writing with people.
Yeah.
And we ask students to do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, that used to be my rule. Did I tell you that when I coached like the poetry club and Louder Than a Bomb?
Right.
Anyways, my rule was they always had the coaches slam every year where the teachers get up. And
Yeah.
it is hilarious to see how nervous, like, people are like stumbling over words. And so I told my kids, I'm making you get on stage, so I'll get my ass on stage if you show up to cheer me on.
Yeah.
Without fail, always at least one kid showed up.
Right.
To make me do it. So anyway,
that's fantastic.
I get it.
So, and I don't really have a form for it yet. And that's why I was like, okay, since you're online, I was like, oh, we'll run through, like, just like what the structure would be like. And then I'll just kind of see what it looks like when I pull it off of Google Hangouts. Kind of was thinking of doing Skype because I think Skype is a little bit higher quality.
Okay. I don't really know.
But I'll see how this goes. And I'm also interested while we're doing this, I'm super interested in what you think about it, because I think we think similarly on these things. But I was just thinking about, like, an intro, and then I can't decide if I want people to share their poems, writing, whatever, readings first, or to do, like, questions about the, like, slow down first too. You know what I mean? So, like, if I had students who had questions for you, would I want you to share your poem and writing first, or does it make more sense to do the questions first?
I mean, I would say probably writing first. Because then what if the questions change based on what they say?
Well, perfect.
Right?
So let's just try it. Let's just try it now. Let's just pretend like we're going live, which
Okay.
kind of makes me nervous. All right.
Okay, because and then as far as like the intro, what would you say that is? Just like, hey, I'm gonna read you this poem.
Yeah, and I'll ask you process questions afterwards.
Okay. So this poem is, I guess.
Can you introduce yourself first?
Oh, great. Okay. Hey, it's Miss Merrill, Miss Nidick and Mr. Buse's resident. I'm gonna share a poem today. Even though this poem is at this point almost 7 years old,
Wow.
I still consider it a draft.
Was that 2013?
Yes, I wrote it in 2013. I just stumbled across it again today. I was looking at some edits and thinking about like if I want to change it or not, or just leave it. So I'm going to read it as is. Pardon me if I stumble over some of my edits because there's scribbles all over the page.
Can you hold up what it looks like really quick just so we can see?
Got like things crossed out.
Oh, wow.
Places.
Wow.
And things like that. From apparently 7 years ago. Okay, here goes. Yesterday, I listened to a student recount the events of his upcoming trial. 4 counts of attempted murder. He didn't do it. There was weak evidence, he said. He said this all to ask me for a character reference, a letter to the judge. Behind him, boys on the computer searched the county inmate lookup, finding old friends, foes, cousins. They expressed exclamations of surprise at sentences and crimes, laughed at mugshots rather than expressing regret at the unfortunate situation. I knew many of their names too. Wanted to tell them to stop, do work, as assigned. Maybe it was okay. Maybe they couldn't grieve anymore. So 5 minutes of looking and talking about fallen soldiers they know is okay in a room full of black boys on the south side of Chicago. This day is not out of the ordinary. Tales of incarceration are as common as the weather. Bullet wounds and knife marks are badges of honors. I know more of this world than I could ever want to. Unspeakable acts recounted as humor, been smiled at and greeted politely by the same person who took another's life a mere hours later. I've forgiven these facts and loved these black boys. And into all of this, you are coming. The sky cried and thundered that night. You were shouting your becoming. You will be birthed into a world I wish didn't exist. Half of Chicago erupting in violence, the other half pretends it isn't happening. A student asked me how it feels to be one of us now. How does it feel to be one of us? I want to explain his flawed biology, how my child's blood may be mixed, but mine remains the same. I'm white. I know that. I always will be other on the 47th Street bus in Chicago, always be nice to my black boys. And here you come to be a part of a world I can never fully understand, but you are coming. Have to prepare you to live in a society segregated on purpose, help you feel proud of your white and your black in a city that so often separates the two. Have to not allow myself to feel, oh, no, scratch that line. Many days I would rather stay home, curled around you, holding you, watching my belly balloon full of you, waiting for you to tap dance on my insides, instead of waiting through tragic stories. How can I ever protect you? Wish I could pretend this all doesn't matter. But you are coming and this city isn't changing. Maybe I'm just not ready, but you are coming. The work bell of your becoming peeled you away from the fields of Queen Anne's lace, so here you come, more powerful than you know. At 13 weeks, I watched you hold your fist tight, raised, like a message about the fight in you. I want to teach you to love black boys, to hold their scars, unafraid, to forgive them, to forgive whiteness, because you are a beautiful idea. And that's that piece.
Wow. Now, I mean, I have some guesses. I think I could probably talk for a while where I guess that inspiration came from. But
yeah,
where were you when you wrote this? Where were you when you wrote this?
I think I started it actually at school where I was working. Probably maybe in a free write session with my after school poetry club, probably. And then I probably worked on it at home as well.
And you wrote it with your poetry club? Who's in your poetry club?
At that time, gosh, who was that? Who was there in 2013?
Was it like a big club, small club?
At that time of the year, it would have been a small club because we were getting ready for Louder Than a Bomb performances. So probably had 4 or 5 kids who were like ready to get on stage.
And why'd you write it? What's going behind it?
Well, there was no prompt with this one. The opening moment where I talk about this student asking me for a character reference for a judge was like a true thing that had just happened. So it was on my mind. So I thought to write about it. You're a new parent, so I'm sure you just went through the ringer. As you can tell, I was pregnant during that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, every other day you feel excitement and then insecurity and you feel frightened and you're like, oh my God, I have this crazy responsibility coming. And, as teachers, we're already focused on thinking about how we can make the world better for students. But then when you're like, oh my God, what is the world going to be like for my kid? It becomes like a whole other thing. So.
Right. And there's no stopping it.
Yeah.
And now you're 7 years on the other side of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and you say it's still a draft. Is this a piece that's just constantly changing bit by bit?
Well, I literally discovered it again today. I probably haven't looked at it in 7 years. I fully believe that, like, I've done this before where I found a piece like 2 years later and then I get over whatever roadblock stopped me 2 years ago. This one, given that it probably was so specific to that particular moment and how I was feeling, I don't know if I can touch it authentically anymore because I'm so removed. I'm too removed from those feelings,
Right. Well, because now your daughter is about 7 years old. She's here.
Yeah.
She's here.
And she's giant.
Have you? What do you think if you read her that poem? I mean, when would you read her that poem? That'd be my question. When would be the time you would read her that poem?
I could read it to her now. I mean, some of the.
What would you hope she takes away from it? Is there like a line in there that you're like, oh, this is really the line that rings in my head again and again and again?
Probably just that she's stronger than she knows. That her father and I hope that she finds a love of balance, between her racial identities. But also understanding, there's a line that's like to forgive them, but to forgive whiteness. And like the concept of whiteness, we haven't quite touched upon as a 7-year-old, but we have talked about it some. Yeah. I mean, I'll give her credit. Her Black History Month project at her school, she just went in and made a poster about Mumia Abul Jamal.
Uh-huh.
Is currently fighting a death row sentence for the shooting an off-duty police officer. And she goes into her class and starts saying how she doesn't believe the government has the right to execute anybody. And here's why. And I was like, thank you, my little radical.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, she's got 11 more years to keep throwing projects at her classes too.
Right. And of course, it's Black History Month, and there was like 4 Michael Jordans, 3 Malcolm X's, 2 Martin Luther Kings, and then like here she comes with like, let me tell you about this person you probably never heard of.
The deep cuts. Yeah. Exactly. Great. How often do you write?
I used to write all the time. I don't really anymore.
So what's your I know the answer to this, but how do the things that you need to say, how do they come out of your hands? In what way do they come out? Or
not come out?
Right.
As a resident, I'm very busy at Solorio, plus I'm in grad school. So like everything right now has been on that. I've been putting a lot on hold. However, I am also have a background as an artist. So I have found I've been able to keep up with my visual art making practice more than my writing practice. So I used to journal a lot. I'm trying to start that up again, especially now that I'm quarantined at home and I have a little more time. I'm back to journaling. I actually like making books. I know how to do bookbinding. So It's something that I do a lot of, like, so I make handmade journals and I give them to friends and stuff. So even though I'm not writing, I'm giving somebody else the power to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If you had to make the perfect sign-off question for a video like this, what question would you want somebody to ask?
That's so hard.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, how do I wrap these things up?
Like, all right, Thanks.
Something
Bye.
about the quarantine. Something about the quarantine. Just like, I guess, what's your challenge to the students? What's your challenge? Let's say a student is watching right now. And maybe I don't want to say any names out loud, but if we can think of a student in our head, I'll tell a kinesis it over to you.
Okay.
What's your challenge to them for today? What do you want to challenge them to do today?
I want to challenge them to create or make something that they've never done before. So that could be very broad. Maybe if they're sitting here and they've never written a poem, they're going to go try. Maybe if they have a guitar that's getting dusty in the corner, maybe they pick it up. Maybe they try and bake cookies with their little brother. I don't know. Like, just do something and make
something like a new form, a form that they've never done before.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to say from the isolation of your home?
Is this for the video or?
We can cut it out.
That's it. My house is very clean now. It's very clean. I've always been a clean person, but oh my gosh, I have so much time and I can't let myself sit still. I'm not going. This is off the video. I'm not going crazy yet, surprisingly.
Wait, let me try sign off. All right, so that was a day of poetry with Miss Merrill, Miss Nidek's resident. Tune back in tomorrow for another special guest.
Let me know if you guys think I should keep working on it.
There we go. All right, what were you gonna say? Here, I'll stop recording.
Saying surprisingly, I haven't gone crazy yet, but you know.
Thanks, Miss Merrill. That was great. We're going to keep it going this week with some more new interviews coming up, some new show stuff. In the meantime, keep reading, keep those pencils sharp, keep everyone around you safe, stay safe yourself, and what do I usually say? Oh, stay safe out there. That's safe 3 times. Anyways, hope that you're enjoying your life. Signing off for now, this is Mr. Buse.